Thank you. I'll call to order the town commission meeting for June 22nd. Please stand for the pledge and the invocation. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Sal, if you would, please.
Father God, thank you for entrusting us with your town once again. I ask you that you give us your wisdom and discernment to help us make the best decisions for our towns, for our citizens. Put a hedge of protection around all our staff and our police department and our teachers and all the public works. May we honor you in all we say this evening. In your name, amen.
Amen. Thank you, sir. Okay. Good, the roll call, please.
All right. Commissioner Ramos.
Present.
Commissioner Polland.
Here.
Commissioner McMullen.
Here.
Vice Mayor Satterfield.
Present.
Mayor Stark. Present. Okay, we have a quorum.
Thank you. And again, due to some extenuating circumstances, the mayor could not be here tonight. And she apologizes for that. So she should be home soon. All right, first up, we have presentations, the Oakland Nature Preserve Annual Update. And I'm guessing that's why Jennifer's here.
That is why I'm here. Well, good evening, everybody, and thank you for having me at our regular June update. Before I begin, I just want to say thank you to the town, because without the support of the town and the changes that were made over this past year, this could be a very different presentation. So thank you very, very much. So this year's theme, like everyone, is pivot. So let's get right down to it. Everything we do at the preserve fits into the mission. So when we are talking about the programs, we're talking about anything that we do out there, it all fits in with our mission statement. And as a reminder, it is to promote an understanding of the fragile balance between mankind and the environment by educating visitors about Lake Pompous Basin and ecosystems and cultural history, and by restoring and conserving the lands within the preserve. So education, of course, is one of the primary things that we do. And normally what we would have happening at the preserve are our schools that would come out. Well, of course, this year that was quite different. We ended up with an educator going to Oakland Avenue Charter School this year every Wednesday to continue touching base with those kids every week and to continue our relationship with them. So I'm very proud of our educator, Sarah, who took our programs and morphed them into a way that they could be done in the classroom and on the grounds of the school. We also did some outreaches that went to Dillard Street Elementary, which is something new for us. We have not done that in the past. And that top picture, you can see Nicole with one of our opossums doing a meet and greet with the first graders there at the school. Something completely different this year, since we didn't have kids in the classroom, we did a focus on our adult education programs. That was through the Florida Master Naturalist Program, which we do in collaboration with the University of Florida. Normally, we offer 2 live classes a year. This year, we offered 7 virtual classes, which took over 27 weeks on Zoom for these students to complete. And because of that, we had several new advanced master naturalists that were able to complete the program that would not normally be able to because of the distance coming to the preserve. A total of 143 adult students, which is something totally new for us. So very excited about that.
Wow.
We did offer our archery camp, which every year we have. We do a maximum of 10 students anyway, so that worked out very, very well. And also continuing our adventure days, which was our pivot from last year's summer camp. We decided to do that again this year, and that is 3 days a week, still 8 students a day, keeping the parents happy with what they've registered for. We didn't want to throw anything new at the parents just last minute. This is what they registered for. So those camps are full. So we're very, very pleased with that as well. And of course, we continued with our blue hike, since that's a beautiful kayak hike, which made for great distancing. Lots of scout programs and lots of informal hikes and museum talks that just kind of popped up. Now, normally for our visitors, I could give you a rough idea of how many would be on the property based on sign-ins for our sign-in sheets at 3 different locations. This year, we cannot do that. We haven't had sign-ins since March of 2020. So that being said, last year, we estimated that we had probably around 35,000 visitors, including our school groups that came throughout the year. This year, even though we didn't have the school groups, I believe our visitor numbers are much higher because people were looking for a place outdoors where they could just come and explore and not have to worry about indoor activities.
Wow.
So my guess this year, we probably topped at least 40,000. So very excited about that. We had people from all over the world. And one thing I did not put on here because it just happened after I finished this presentation is we had a former Antarctic researcher that popped up. So we can now say we had South America, Asia, Europe, South Pacific, and Antarctica in our visits this year. So that was a lot of fun. So most people find us online. So we're very easy to find for visitors that are coming from out of town because they Google something to do around Disney World that's outside and we pop up. So our local visitors, those numbers are coming up dramatically because of our social media that's happening. So we're very, very pleased about the buildup of our local visitors and the support and connection that we're having with them as well. So our visitors, or excuse me, our volunteers have been extremely busy. We still hit the 6,000 hour mark this year with our volunteer hours, and that does not include the hours of one of our restoration volunteers that'll bump it up probably another 1,000. So that is equivalent to last year. So we're very, very pleased by that. Our volunteers do everything from restoration. We have new museum docents that are there on the weekends to help us out when we don't have the staff for the museum. We have new office and data entry and education volunteers as well. And a record number of corporate groups have come this year. I think once again, it was a COVID shift for them. It was something they could do outdoors so that they could still get that corporate time in that they like to do. Of course, we have our volunteer board of directors, and our volunteer youth program has really expanded this year as well. We had several youth that were doing their work from home instead of being in the school. And so they took that opportunity to become one of our museum or porch docents. Now we have our leaders in training and also our eco-interpreters who help in the museum. They do short presentations on the porch and interact with guests. So those volunteers have jumped up as well. Restoration, we continue in those same restoration areas, including an expansion of another 2 acres in our area 51. We call it that because it was so full of invaders or invasive species. That has been dubbed Area 51. And we still have some really good restoration funding through Duke Energy Foundation, the U.S. Forestry Department, and also some private donations that go along with that. And we did do one controlled burn this year. We are still using a contractor to help us with our chemical applications, and that kind of takes some of the weight off of our restoration volunteers. Our social media has exploded this year, and we are now up to 5,847 followers as of the beginning of this month. We continue to have a 4.9 rating on our social media. Most popular are our Sunday Funnies, our Trail Cam Tuesdays, and now our Science Saturdays. That is something that we kicked off this year since we weren't having our programs. So that is something that visitors and our regular Facebook visitors look forward to every week. And so starting this fall, we're going to be building on our Science Saturdays with some new programs at the preserve that build off those same topics. I'm very excited about that. Our Instagram has more than doubled. So very, very pleased, and we still have a really good rating on TripAdvisor. So where does funding come from? So of course the town. We could not do this without the town's support. So thank you once again. We have a private education matching grant that will be coming back again this year. So be watching for the match. That helps to fund all of our education programs, our teachers, our supplies, everything that we need for the programs. Duke Energy is still focusing on their restoration and assisting us with our Blue Hike kayak hikes. We have, once again, the U.S. Forestry, who gave us a 5-year grant that's going to be finishing up this year, but that was a $25,000 grant going towards restoration. And Orange County gives us a general maintenance grant each year. We also have a major private donation that has come in now several times to help continue the restoration process once other funds do start running a little low. And of course, we utilize our program fees, fundraisers, donations, and memberships to cover much of our costs. So we did have some major project funding this year. First of all, the reconstruction of our iconic boardwalk. See a picture there of the beautiful new boardwalk. That was made possible by the West Orange Healthcare District and a large supporting grant from them to do a basic rebuild of this 2/3 of a mile boardwalk. So it is our hope that that boardwalk will last at least another 30 years before it needs the additional work. And upcoming, we do have 2 private foundations that are collaborating to assist us with the build out of new bathrooms. I've never been so excited about bathrooms in my life. But when you have 15 preschoolers there and 2 bathrooms, they're a really important thing that we have at the preserve. So that will entail building out our back porch, making it a wraparound, and adding 3 bathrooms and 2 sinks on that back side. So that's going to be a wonderful addition. Had some fun highlights this year for our events. So we definitely did a complete pivot with our events this year. A lot of back pocket events came out and made their first appearance, including our Pumpkin Glow Jack-o'-lantern Trail. Funny thing, I learned about a jack-o'-lantern trail 3 years ago when we received a phone call from a very panicked individual about where am I supposed to drop off my pumpkin? I am outside the gate, across the street from the cemetery. I don't know where to go. Well, they were calling from the Oakland Nature Preserve up in Ohio, having a pumpkin glow. So of course, we social media snooped them to find out what this event was, stuck it in the back pocket. Well, we did it this year with a lot of fun.
That's funny.
Yep.
That's good.
Yeah. So, and if you find their Facebook, there's lots of our pictures on Facebook where they've been tagged in our photos and up there. So this was a one-way jack-o'-lantern trail that we did in October. We had 127 jack-o'-lanterns and painted pumpkins that were brought in by the community. So we put it out there and people had a blast creating these jack-o'-lanterns. Now, Channel 13 caught it. They follow our Facebook page. They saw the event on Facebook. They called us. Hey, we'd like to do a preview. Can you get some people out there? They did a 5-minute preview video that was played an entire day the week before the event. We had over 2,000 visitors in 3 hours. Needless to say, it was a little overwhelming. People were amazing. They kept their distancing. They kept their masks and had a blast. The event was a free event, doing it with donations. And that way, anyone could come. And that's always my goal. Having a fee should never be a limiting factor for a family to be able to come to the preserve for a fun event. That being said, that event had over $4,500 in donations in the one night. So needless to say, we are doing it again this year, and we have had phone calls. Hey, are we going to do our jack-o'-lanterns this year? So a lot of fun. We had our Pours at the Preserve, which was another one-way trail with 5 different locations to enjoy some beer, wine, munchies. Really a lot of fun. Tickets sold out, 125 visitors for that. Also, our Bubbly on the Boardwalk for Earth Day. That one was a lot of fun, limited to 100 tickets, just walking down the boardwalk, champagne and desserts at the end, watch sunset, fireflies on the way back. Really, really good response from that one as well. Plus, we had some pop-up native plant sales. So none of those had been planned, but we found great people with great ideas, and so we made it work. Now, I know a lot of people might be focusing on some negative this year. We did have challenges, but I want to focus on the amazing things that happened this year. First of all, our scouts, and I'm not talking about just Eagle Scouts. We had Boy Scouts, Eagle Scout projects, we had Girl Scout projects this year. We had 5 Eagle Scout projects completed this year, including 3 pavilions that are bench pavilions, a complete rebuild, an engineered rebuild of our Seepage Stream Bridge, and the creation of another trail through our honor course. We had 2 Girl Scout projects. That was a Bronze Award project, which was our wingspan comparison display over on our Green Exploration Trail, and a tree cookie interpretation basket done by Junior Girl Scouts for their Take Action project. We had our boardwalk rebuild, which is absolutely amazing, and a lot of people enjoying that. And also our porch, in addition to being hooked up to sewer this year. So amazing, amazing things. We can have the next slides. Just wanted to show you, these are the pavilions that were built by our Boy Scouts. Each one is slightly different, and each one contains artwork for that area. We have Sandhill, we have an oak hammock area, and also one that has beautiful artwork of our ancient Florida animals, including the giant ground sloth and saber-toothed cats and all kinds of things. Next slide. We had our trail, the rebuild of the bridge, and our wing display there. And finally, these were our juniors super excited about their interpretive basket that they put together from some of our interpreters. Like always, of course, we have challenges. This year, it's just going to be getting back to normalcy. We do have Oakland Avenue Charter coming back in September, as well as Innovative Montessori. So we're very excited about getting kids back in the classroom. Of course, marketing is something that's always a challenge for us, how to touch base with the people in our area to help them find us and learn everything that we have. We are building up that social media presence, and funding is the nature of the beast. That is the never-ending process, and that's okay. That makes for an interesting life. Do we have any questions or comments about anything that I touched base on?
Anything? I would like to say that's the presentation's wonderful, and what you guys do out there, whatever we put into it, we get our bang for the buck a million ways to Sunday by what you guys do out there. We just appreciate the heck out of you guys. So thank you for everything you do for us out there.
Well, once again, your support is amazing, and I want to give a shout out to Public Works.
Oh, don't do that. They'll get a big head.
You know, I mean, I can make a phone call to Scott. Scott, I need help with this. I'll be right there. You know, they are an amazing, amazing team. So not only is it the support from the commission and all the administrative side, but also the boots on the ground. So thank you.
Well, you know, it's interesting to see it from in the very beginning. Those of us who were here when we started that project, when we first started building the boardwalk, when Jack Amon told me, get down there, and I said, I work up top, Jack, I'm sorry. You know? So from where we started with that to where it is now, I would never, ever have believed we could have come that far in really a relatively short period of time for what we have. So
Well, it's an amazing place.
it really is. So
It's a true gem. So
I'm proud of it.
the foresight
proud.
of doing that really was a
So-
good thing.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And as with everyone else, you're welcome to leave if you want to keep your job, just keep your seat. All right, we're down to public forum, and this is where if anyone in the audience has anything they would like to bring to us that is not on the agenda, now would be the time. Do we have anybody in the audience? Do we have anybody virtually that has anything they would like to talk about that's not on the agenda? All righty, I will move us on down then. Thank you. We have the consent agenda with all of our items. If we had time to look at them, consider them, and do we have any comments on them?
I'd like to pull the agreement between the town of Oakland and Oakland Point HOA and vote on that separately, as I gotta recuse myself from that, being I live there.
Okay. We'd probably See, we haven't had to do that before. Do we have to make a separate motion for that one itself, or how do we do that?
You can ask John.
Yeah, that's probably the best way to handle it. You could probably get away with just doing it without it, but just go ahead and ask for a motion in a second and then voice vote.
Okay, cool. All right. Is that all we have? Is just yours, Rick? Does anybody else have anything? Okay, what's your pleasure?
Okay, so I'm gonna want to make a motion to pull that.
I would say make the motion to delete that, and we'll consider that item after we do this.
After the consent agenda.
Right.
Okay. Make a motion to approve the consent agenda except for the agreement with the Oakland Point HOA.
That would work, to be considered after we get done.
We considered separate as a separate item.
Cool.
I'll second it.
All right, I have the motion in a second. Do we have any other discussion? Call for the vote. All in favor, aye. Aye. All opposed? All right, we'll move on then, and we want to talk about the agreement between the town of Oakland and the Oakland Point HOA. So, Rick, you want to go and talk on that before we do the motion?
I'm just going to recuse myself.
Okay. You need to just publicly say,
Okay, I need to go. Okay, yeah, I'm going to recuse myself from that because I live in Oakland Point.
okay. So the item on the agenda that we pulled, the agreement between the town of Oakland and the Oakland Point HOA, which is a consent agenda item. Rick has recused himself from it. The rest of you guys, what's your pleasure?
Well, I'll make a motion that we approve the agreement between the town of Oakland and the Oakland Point HOA as stated in our agenda.
I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? We'll call for the vote. All in favor, aye. Aye. All opposed? And we have that. Cool. And we move on. Other policy matters. Waste management recycling service modification request.
I can introduce that, and then we've got representatives from Waste Management here. So town staff had a meeting with Waste Management a couple weeks ago. They are assuming ownership of advanced disposal services, so they will be, providing garbage service for the town. And we got a request, we discussed it at the meeting, and then we got the formal request from Waste Management, from Jose, who's here, that they would like to move the recycling pickup from Fridays to Wednesdays. And in the letter that's in the agenda, they give you a couple different reasons. First of all, we've grown to over 400 houses since they took on this contract. It would help them distribute their resources a little better as far as how many trucks they have here in town doing pickups. Instead of having 3 on Fridays, they would be able to have 2 on Fridays and 2 on Wednesdays. It would also kind of take away the perception that the recycling is going into the trash, because those trucks would be completely separate now on Wednesday and on Friday. So with that, staff has no issues with this, and they're here to answer questions about the overall service and about this particular request. And then staff pretty much has no issues, and depending on how the discussion goes, we would request to approve this service change. And they can talk a little bit about how we're going to let the residents know. So with that, I'll bring Jose or Regina up to the podium, and they can answer any questions concerning the change in service.
Hello. Good evening, everybody. I'm Regina Caronia, the district manager here in Orlando on Hills. And it's just like you said, we just want to balance everything out. Fridays is getting rather large, so we just don't, we don't want to hurt the service. Changing the Friday to Wednesday would completely take out the calls that you get. Hey, they're taking the recycling in the garbage truck, because we're not, the trucks just look the same. So that would help tremendously. With labor, that helps us tremendously. We need the same amount of people every day instead of needing 2 extra people on a Friday. And labor right now is a little tight, as everybody knows. So with that, what we would plan to do is August 1st, we'll make, we'll do some mailers. We have the addresses already from the town. We can send everybody a mailer, letting them know, hey, we want to change the recycle day. And we can just continue on to continue.
You'll be sending that way in advance, not August 1st.
Oh, no. We're already prepared. If you approve it, we're already prepared to go to print. We just have with Mike's approval about what we want to send to them. And it would just notify them that their day will change from Friday to Wednesday.
Yeah, they've been working well with Alicia. We've been working with their public relations. They do have a mailer that they're ready to send out that they've been finalizing between Alicia and Mike. And then we'll also have our social media campaign, as well as we'll be putting information as we're handing out recycle bins to the new residents. So, we're already putting together a plan, should this be approved, to make sure everybody knows. We've got about 5 week lead time to get the word out.
And that's August 1st is when you want to start, correct?
Yeah, that first week in August.
You guys have any questions? Not necessarily just about the Wednesday, but anything else for them, since we have them here as captive audience.
So if you start throwing the recycling in with the yard waste, we have a major problem then, right?
Absolutely. We would not do that in separate vehicles.
They would not accidentally throw it in the wrong vehicle now on Wednesdays.
And Wednesdays will stay the yard.
Yeah, Wednesday is your waste day.
I know it's not a crystal ball out there, but how you dealing with this labor piece? Because I know it's affecting everyone all around the country.
It's really hard right now to get the laborers on the trucks. Our permanent employees are CDL drivers. We just had a job fair on Saturday.
Oh, okay.
And we actually made 17 offers to CDL drivers. So what we're trying to do is go to all driver teams, so we have a flexibility
Oh, good.
on the routes instead of relying on the temporary labor service or a helper on the back, a permanent helper. We're going to continue with our permanent helpers that we have. We're just trying to get away from the temporary labor service. And as we hire, we're hiring CDL drivers to just give us better flexibility. Wherever they're needed, they can just go to any route and drive. And they can do driver teams, which helps the driver switch off, so they're not pulling all the weight on picking up the trash. So, but we had great success Saturday. We were pleasantly surprised. We did some pre-screening on Friday, made some offers, and made the rest of them by Saturday, and total of 17 for the week. So it's good. Right now, it's up on the upswing, let's just say. But we've struggled.
Yeah.
No doubt.
That's nationwide. So.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Do you have any kind of programs to help educate people on recycling, what can be recycled and what's not? Because I drive by the recycle bins and I see sometimes stuff is being put in there like styrofoam and stuff. There's anything you can do to help the town educate the people on what can.
I'm Jose Boscan, Government Affairs Manager with Waste Management, and I get the privilege to work with Regina every day. Thank you for the time, and thank you to all you, the council members, and we're really happy to be part of the town. With that being said, we have a program called Recycle Often, Recycle Right. That's a website, and it's really straightforward, showing everyone how to, we can do that, and we can help with the city. We can put a, widget on your website, and people can just look up there, and it just simplifies everything. Bring this, not this. That's the way that all of really Central Florida has gone to that kind of concept. Everybody has a different name for it. We have it Recycle Often, Recycle Right. And that's really the best way to keep the communication with the residents. It's definitely an education process, like just letting folks know, don't put your recycling in a bag. That's a no-no, and a lot of people do that and they put it in plastic bags. That damages our systems when it goes through processing. And that's people don't always know that. Is simplify things, put this material, newspaper, cardboard, plastic bottles, cans. Those are the simple things. If you do that, that's the way to go.
Just to name a few.
Just to name a few of the things that are on that list, just to give you an example of the basic things that you should always consider. Glass, same thing.
And then checking the plastic, make sure they're number 1 and number 2s and.
Correct. And the market has gone away a lot of times, like just to give an example, your strawberry, where your strawberries come in that case, that's not recyclable. That should go in your waste. That is not a recyclable, no
You
longer.
saying it's not a number one or number two? It's a,
Well, even if it says that, they're really not always recyclable materials. I mean, you can do it, or you can take it in, and sometimes we always put it into the recycle systems, but if there isn't a market for it, it tends to no longer be recyclable. So it goes to the facilities, and it can be used in different systems, but it's not always, and not every county, every city has that in the systems. But we try to tell you, really, if you want to, that's what we consider as a material that's really no longer recyclable. So we try to educate people in that way, because there's a wish to recycle those things, but they're not always recyclable anymore. So, and we tend to send that information. We're the largest hauler and recycler in the nation, so, and in North America. And we want to recycle as much as we can. But if there's not a market for it, it's no longer really a recyclable material.
yeah, we need to get some kind of education program.
They have been, like I said, Alicia's been working with their public relations person. And they provided quite a bit of information. So we are going to start rolling that stuff out as we go into this process of changing the day. We've also got some stuff lined up for education.
Like we'll go on our newsletter and stuff like that. Cool.
So but a lot of our people in Oakland, especially the older people, I know they don't go on the website and stuff like that. How do we get the message across to them?
Well, we can print them out and have them in town hall too for when people come to pay their bills. Put it in the newsletter. We can put a flyer up at the post office. So there's a lot of other ways that we can do outreach in addition to the mailer. We will update the website, and we're going to continually push out the recycling message like over months. And we could do it indefinitely, but we're going to push hard as we potentially change the date.
And they will go hard paper and mailboxes too? Is that or no?
We didn't plan for that. That comes with a cost, but the commission.
That is something we can do.
I would.
That would be a good idea.
Because you're right, there's a lot of people that don't go to a website and not young people like us.
They're sending something out directly.
No, they said something directly about the change.
But the change.
Yeah.
Commissioner Paul, that what she's bringing up is, we talked about it during Earth Day when we had a discussion about.
So this is a good time for us with the transition to really push this. So we've got the opportunity where they do we put them into the PO boxes.
Yeah, I would like to do that.
But like I said, there is a cost to that. I believe it's $200 for us to do that. But that is something that we can do.
I think it'd be worth it.
So over the course of the next month or 2 months, we'll also do that. Yeah, if that's the wish of the commission.
Oh,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Because in my other business, in the lawn business, I'm always helping people do something. And I go in, and a lot of the older people on their refrigerator, they got them right on their refrigerator. So they know it's right by their trash. And that's kind of what I think we're talking about, something that they can access and say, is this?
Absolutely. So yeah, we can do that as part of our campaign with the change in the day and getting the information out, the educational information out.
Cool. Anything else? All right, well, we need to vote on this matter, I reckon.
Motion, you need a motion?
Thank you, guys. So we need a motion. What's your pleasure?
I'll make a motion for the waste management recycling service modification request.
I'll second it.
I've got a motion and a second. Do we have any other discussion? Let's call for the vote. All in favor, aye. Aye. Opposed? Looks like our stuff is gonna go out on Wednesday starting.
There it is.
Thank you guys so much for coming.
Thank you.
All right, and believe me, if you need shirts and stuff, I can hook you up. Gators, You can't have that one. Okay, next, and y'all don't need to stay the same way. If you feel the need to leave, not a problem.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Resolution 2021-02.
So this is resolution number 2021-02, resolution of the town of Oakland, Florida, ratifying and confirming the existing business tax receipt schedule, providing for conflict severability and effective date. There's no fee changes on this. It's just cleanup. We're switching software systems. So this is to clean it up a little bit to get it cleanly into the new system.
Nothing.
That's all it is. It's just housekeeping.
Okay, do we have any discussion?
Renee's been working on.
That's,
Okay.
that's what she's been pulling her hair out on.
That's tough.
I'm going through the same thing and it takes a handful of people.
Yeah.
Overtime.
All right. There's no discussion. What's your pleasure?
I'll make a motion to accept the resolution 2021-02- business tax receipts fees schedule.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? I'll call for the vote. All in favor, aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. And we have our fee schedule. Public hearings.
All right.
Let's start with,
Okay, go ahead.
can you repeat that? Let's see, we got the second public hearing of ordinance 2021-07 to be read, if you please.
Okay, ordinance number 2021-07, an ordinance of the town of Oakland, Florida, annexing by voluntary conditions certain real property owned by Kramer Groves, Inc., bearing property tax parcel identification number 29-22-27-0000-00-002 south of West Colonial Drive, Oakland, Florida, and located contiguous to the town of Oakland in accordance with the voluntary annexation provisions of section 171.044 Florida statutes and other controlling law, redefining the boundaries of the town of Oakland to include said property, providing for findings, providing for conditions, directing the town clerk to record the ordinance with the clerk of the circuit court, with the chief administrative officer of Orange County, and with the Department of State, providing for a legal description and a map, repealing all ordinances in conflict herewith, providing for severability, providing for non-codification, and the taking of administrative actions, and providing for an effective date.
Very good. You did better than I would have.
Could repeat.
I was gonna say that, but I thought I better not. She'll throw us out. So, do we have anything else, Jay, that we need to talk about with us? You guys have any questions? Okay, before we do it, I'll close the meeting and open up a public hearing. Do we have any questions or comments, whether they're virtual or in the audience? Hearing none, I'll close the public hearing, bring it back to the meeting. What is your pleasure?
I'll make a motion to approve the second reading of ordinance number 2021-07.
I'll second it.
All right, motion and a second on the table. Any other discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, aye. Aye. All opposed? And we pass ordinance 2021-07. We move on down to 2021-08.
Okay, ordinance number 2021-08, an ordinance of the town of Oakland, Florida, changing the town's future land use plan map designation of its comprehensive plan from rural and Orange County comprehensive plan to industrial in the town of Oakland's comprehensive plan for certain real property owned by Kramer Groves, Inc., bearing property tax parcel identification number 29-22-27-0000-00-002, located south of West Colonial Drive in Oakland, Florida, with an approximate size of 6.56 acres, making findings and providing for conflict severability and for an effective date.
All right, thank you, ma'am. This is the second public hearing. Do we have anything we need to discuss? Or are you guys clear?
Just so I can put it on the record, the applicant is here if you do have any questions of the applicant.
Okay. You guys have anything? All right, before we move on to vote, I will close the meeting and open up a public hearing. Anybody in the audience or anybody virtually have any questions or comments? Hearing none, I'll close the public hearing, bring it back to the meeting. What is your pleasure?
I'll make a motion to accept second public hearing ordinance number 2021-08.
I'll second it.
There's a motion and a second. Do we have any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll call for the vote. All in favor, aye. All opposed? And number 2 is passed, ordinance 2021-08. We will move on down to the next one, the second public hearing of ordinance 2021-09.
Ordinance number 2021-09, an ordinance of the town of Oakland, Florida, changing the town's official zoning map designation from A1 agriculture in Orange County to I1 industrial general in the town of Oakland for a parcel of land owned by Kramer Groves, Inc., bearing property tax parcel identification number 29-22-27-0000-00-002, south of West Colonial Drive, Oakland, Florida, with an approximate size of 6.56 acres, making findings and providing for conflict, severability, and for an effective date.
Thank you, ma'am. Do we have anything else that we need to add? Anybody have any questions or comments? All right, I'll close the meeting and open the public hearing. Does anybody in the audience or anybody virtual have any questions or comments on this one? Hearing none, I'll close the public hearing, bring it back to the meeting. And what is your pleasure?
I'll second,
Second, you skip on down, man. Skip on down.
sorry. I'll make a motion to accept second public hearing ordinance number 2021-09.
I'll second it.
And we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion or questions? We'll call for the vote. All in favor, aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. And we have passed number 3, ordinance 2021-09, gentlemen. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
All right. Okay, now we are down to the town manager report.
A couple things real quick. So first thing,
Wait, you can't leave. Oh.
Before you gave me permission, I was gonna wait.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, everybody.
thank y'all. So last week, Alicia put out the press release on the cemetery grant that we got for through the state of Florida, since that's official now, July 1st. And we got a nice profile on Channel 6 as part of their Juneteenth coverage. So I did a little interview and they came out and took some pictures and stuff. So it was a nice little profile that they did for the historic cemetery. The playground has come along nicely. It is done for the most part. I think they put the mulch out this afternoon. So we'll basically, it'll be a soft opening tomorrow for kids to start playing on it again. And then we're going to do the ribbon cutting on July 13th. It'll be prior to the meeting. So if you show up at 6 down at the playground, we'll do a little ceremony, a little ribbon cutting and some pictures and officially open it up. And we'll talk a little bit. We talked about doing some additional activity, physical exercise kind of things. So we'll have some things to talk about at the next meeting as far as some additional things we can do with the playground or some add-ons to the playground that we can do later in the summer. So that'll be on the 13th also to talk about.
And we are going to continue with the 3rd phase now. We're not.
Yeah, that'll be part of the budget and we'll kind of define what that 3rd phase is going to be, and that'll come in October 1st. But this additional playground is something we can do as during this year. We had a little bit of money left
Good.
with the budget on the playgrounds. So we can go ahead and get this moving now, and then we'll talk about the 3rd phase as part of the budget.
Cool.
I really like it a lot. And me and my daughter already tested it.
No, see, you snuck right in there, didn't you?
It was good. It was nice.
We are
A little bit more challenges.
and we'll have some more challenges with the next piece for the older kids. Mike's got some signs on order. We'll have some signs out there, some temp signs that talks about the ages of the 2 playgrounds, because there's one that's 2 to 5 and one that's 5 to 12. And then we've got some permanent signs that are on order for that. So those are coming. Next thing on my list was the Florida Turnpike widening project. So Mike and I got notices last week. And the first meeting they're having is the utility pre-construction meeting. So they've got their contractor in place and now they're doing their pre-con meetings to get things rolling, and next thing will be mobilization. So on the 28th, which is Monday, I believe, Mike will be going to the utility pre-con meeting for the Turnpike widening. And then on 7/13 is the pre-construction meeting. So they've invited the town and a few other players as well as, all the subcontractor and everybody. So Mike and I will both be going to the one on 7/13 and Mike will go to the one on Monday. I think Steve Pressman's going to go with them. So at that point, we should start getting some schedules and some things that we can start sharing back with the commissioners and with the residents. But that project, this is those first early steps of the process. So, but it's coming. I'm trying to keep that out there so people know they're not surprised when they close that bridge down. So.
Oh, they will be.
I realize that. I realize that.
We know it's going to be.
And then the other major construction project that we've got going on is the septic to sewer project. So the way we've put this together is we're going to have a meeting with the residents to make sure we can answer their questions and get them up to speed with everything that's going on, since we haven't really talked to them in about a year or so as this has been going through design. So we're going to do that on 7/8. I think it's a Thursday evening. We're going to do a meeting for the residents. And then on 7/16, which is a Friday, we're working on kind of a ribbon cutting, start the project kind of a situation, and inviting like DEP and the other players, CDBG and anybody that would be interested in doing a ribbon cutting on the bigger project. So we got 2 meetings on that coming up. So Mike's putting that together. We're going to do a mailer for the residents and get them together and answer questions on 7/8. And then we'll do the ribbon cutting on the 7/16 and get that going and get that project started. And just to give a little update on the funding, just between DEO, FDEP, St. John's and the Springs funding, and DEO is the CDBG grant. We've got $1,794,700 in grant money for this. And right now with the design, the construction management with Kimley Horn and construction, we're just under 1.7 million. So we've got this project funded, and I think we're going to be able to cover the majority of the costs for all the residents that are in that project area, not just the low and moderate income. But we've been using our consultant to make sure that we've got all those things covered. So, and that we can use all the funding appropriately. So we're making sure to double check all that.
That is great news for those folks over there.
Oh, yeah.
So that's been from the onset, the biggest concern that we really had was how are those folks going to be able to afford that?
Yeah, that was the biggest headache.
So
It's going underneath that 1.8 that we have, so it's right underneath the price.
That's cool.
Yeah,
It
gives us a little bit of a contingency. So we do have some contingency in the project. And so we're in good shape. Now, just keep this in mind that, as we move into other septic to sewer projects in the future, to get this kind of funding and be able to cobble all this together may not be quite so easy. So, this is a really good first start with septic to sewer, but it takes a lot of work to get there.
Yeah.
So.
But it bring on the churches too?
Hmm?
It'll bring on the churches.
Yeah, both churches, and we're, right now, we're on track to have funding for all the impact fees, construction, everything, not just for the LMI, low and moderate income, but for everybody out there. So this is a big deal.
it's a very big deal.
The county one that they did last week, they didn't get that good of a deal, Those people are on a long-term payment plan.
Yeah. Where our concern are our people.
Yeah.
Period.
Some of those future projects may have to be structured that way, depending on how things go. But this is a good first project for the town.
It's a perfect area.
And it's a perfect area.
Because, there's a lot of need.
And just to put it on the record, that a lot of this is made possible because they are adjacent to the infrastructure that's been put in from the new development. Some of the other neighborhoods around, aren't adjacent to it, so it's going to be harder to get to them when we do. there'll be infrastructure that'll have to go in. But because there's a lift station right next to this neighborhood, it really made this project possible.
We should mention that when we're, ribbon cutting or whatever we're doing out there, so the other neighborhoods kind of understand why it was made
Yeah.
possible for this neighborhood.
I actually had that question come up.
Like that.
Somebody from Winter's Landing, they were asking the question, is sewer coming? And I mentioned that we're doing our first septic to sewer project, and it's basically because it's adjacent to that existing infrastructure. So,
Well, and that's just meat for the meeting to update everyone in the town too, and this is where we're starting, this is why, and this is how, so it's like anything else, if we haven't learned anything in our time sitting here, it's the more information we get out to people, the better off everybody is. There's nothing.
I always encourage residents, they can call me, email me. All the staff are accessible, and we're happy to answer questions at any point.
No, but the more we get to them, I think, because there's a lot of folks that just don't get it coming in to ask it or can't come in and ask. We get as much as we can bring to them, that's the better off we all are. So, and you guys, it seems to be these days are doing a really great job with the communication. So we've gone so many miles from where we used to be with trying to tell people what's going on in this town. So it's kudos. What else you got, Steve?
That's all. I think that was enough. And we do have Friday, and I'll let Commissioner McMullen, if you want to talk a little bit about music on Friday.
Oh, yeah, we talked about that last time. I bring it up. The July 8th meeting where I won't be here, but where's it gonna be held?
The July 8th meeting, we plan on doing right here in the meeting hall. And then we have a July 10th meeting for anybody that can't show up.
Oh, okay.
Out at Pollard Park. So,
Okay, I'll be out of town both times. Any chance it will be live streamed July 8th? I'm at a conference, so it's just a small meeting.
I think we're just doing for the residents. So
Okay.
we're really just trying to focus on those residents.
Gotcha.
And then the other one will be, actually out at I think we can do it at Pollard Park in the pavilion.
Yes.
To do the ribbon cutting. It's probably,
But that's July
that's July
16th.
16th.
I'll be here for July 16th.
So on the 8th is the first one you're saying?
Yeah. The 8th one's just focused for residents, and then the 16th is more of a.
Oh, okay.
More of a bigger kind of, cut the ribbon kind of, anybody that wants to come out.
and the 16th will be at Pollard Park.
But we wanted something a little more intimate so we can answer questions and talk directly to the residents, and get them up to speed on stuff.
Cool.
All right.
They're excited. They're excited out there. In a good way.
Well, it's a hot topic, this sewage.
Ribbon cutting for the park,
The 16th, I don't think we have a time yet, but
same day? I mean, for the playground?
13th.
6 o'clock.
13th at 6 o'clock for the playground, and the 16th, time to be determined for the septic to sewer. Got a lot going on,
I know, right? The
a
6th.
lot of dates.
That's a Friday.
We'll send you out calendar appointments once we know on everything.
All right, I'll bring it back to us. Rick, we'll start with you. Anything?
Oh, I'm good.
Al?
I'm good.
Pat?
A couple of things, as Steve just mentioned, we got live music this coming Friday, Taylor Rich. So she's gonna mix it up. We got a nice, the next two I'm kind of excited about, musicians. So the 25th of June from 11 to 3, and then next month, 5 Friday. So it's gonna, we definitely dealing with 4th Thursday, so it's gonna be July 23rd. So we have a duo on the July 23rd. But Taylor Rich, look her up, taylorrich.com. I'm kind of excited. It's gonna be.
I did today.
Oh, you did? Okay. So that's that. Before I became the president of the Tri-County League of Cities, about a year ago, they have monthly meetings with the mayors. What they were having every other week or twice a month meetings. And then during session, we were meeting every week. So not all, but a lot of the mayors were calling. It's like a think tank. Now, after session, we meet once a month. So we meet on third Mondays, I'm sorry. And we had a meeting just yesterday. And, just be throwing out different things, but I just want to bring up one point. Oviedo is working on a sewer project. Their project is going to cost them $100 million. Yeah, so, yeah, so there, what the mayor was, no, we're not over here, Winter Park, Winter Springs gonna cost $100 million, Winter Springs. And so he was, asking for help and suggestions, and guys, I believe the Winter Springs mayor is a new mayor. And so just stuff like that happens. And so, just want to applaud, the town that we're doing such a great job. I know we're smaller, but at the same time, we're still, doing some great things. But, they bring up all different types of topics. Kissimmee is doing a big homeless initiative push, Commissioner, Mayor Gonzalez. So there's a lot of things that's going on, some infrastructure going on over in Edenville. And so, it's a good meeting. So once a month, the third Monday, we have those meetings with the mayors. And as, like I said, it started with Commissioner Ortiz and Mariah Raines, who's executive director, and they started it last year. So they're going to keep it going, and hopefully they keep it going every year whenever someone new comes in. Florida League of Cities Policy Committee meeting once a month. The last meeting was last Friday. And so all the different policy committees are coming together to come up with the priorities. As we all know, session starts early this year. So the policy committees are meeting early. So they're doing June, July, and then of course at the annual conference. And so the next meeting for different policy committees will be July 16th. And then the annual conference, going to flow right into that, is August 12th through the 14th. I know Lisa sent out requests if anyone wants to attend that. There's a lot going on in the country and in the state. And so if all of us can show up and be a part of the annual conference, please do, because there's a lot going on in our state, and we're going, discussing, preemption and, the home-based, business, all those different things that are affecting us on a local level. And the Florida League of Cities is really pushing more and more advocacy from local electeds and from the citizens. So if we can be involved with that, please do. So that's all I had to share.
Cool. All right. More, I've got a couple questions. We're doing these trainings online. We did the one with the fishing and that stuff. It's the second one we got out now that's coming. Is that what?
Yeah,
we got out?
Yeah.
Right.
So they're voluntary for you guys, but they're really short, and I think they're good for personal and professional. So just good little reminders.
The only reason I'm bringing it up is I got the first one done on, which was the one about the cybersecurity, but I keep getting emails that say, you need to finish this thing up. And I've already got an email that says, thank you for finishing it. So do we need to get with maybe Jonathan?
Yeah, just check with Jonathan, just say, I'm still getting these messages, so he can confirm on his side, but he should have.
I tried to give a nasty reply back, but it came right back to me, didn't it? So I cussed it myself. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, okay. And the second thing, I had said originally that at the end of the month, I would not be able to make the meeting, but it's kind of pushed up. It'll be the first meeting of the month, which is what, the 13th?
Yeah.
So I probably am not going to be able to be at the ribbon cutting of the park, which is one of the things I would love to have been at too, but I will be out of town, all that week. So I will not be.
You will be here on the 27th?
I'll be here on the 27th.
I won't be here on the 27th, but I will call in.
I
Right.
won't be here on the 27th myself.
Yeah, see, originally I wasn't going to be.
13th, but not the 27th.
Well, here's, so that we have, because of the trim, we have to have 3 people here to approve the millage
On the 27th.
on the 27th.
Yeah, I will definitely be here.
I need to move the meeting, one or the other.
So that'll be me.
I definitely can't be here the 27th.
Rick, can you?
On July 27th?
Yes.
Yes. I'll be-
And Sal, you can or you can't?
Yeah,
That's, so
But I can call in.
You can call in. I just need to
have
have
3.
I think the mayor should be here on the 27th.
Mayor should be back by then too, so that would make 3 of us just in case, but we'll play it by ear just in case. We might have to put it off,
Well, it'll have to go earlier. It can't go later
so.
because the meeting's so far late in the month.
But that might affect, if the mayor can't be here, then she's not gonna be able to be here earlier. So,
We can do it.
13th for sure, so.
It's not a public hearing, it's just an
Right.
approval.
Yeah, I
So
get it.
We can
I
move
get
it
it.
up or do a special meeting or something.
all right, let's play it by ear, but I definitely won't be here on the 13th one, which puts me out for the ribbon cutting. So I think if you Photoshop me into your picture, that would be,
You said
But-
earlier.
Hmm?
It has to be earlier, but we don't. do
would have to be
Yeah,
earlier.
because we have to report to the property appraiser by August 4th.
Okay.
I believe.
Let's give it another week or so and see where,
But just, yeah.
it will probably be okay with us and Kathy. So by then, so I think we'll be good.
Well, and I'll be setting up agenda reviews with you in middle of July to go through the budget and and some other stuff with you. And I can double check with everybody, make sure we're good and whether we need to move it up or something. So.
Okay.
But just keep that in mind. If something comes up on the 27th, I'll need to know. We won't have much wiggle room there.
Right. Okay. So, yeah, I should be, because I've had to move my time up to the middle of the month, then I'll definitely be here for that one. So.
Okay.
Okay.
If we had to move it up, please let me know, because I got travel the 17th, which is that following Saturday, but I can adjust it.
Okay.
Yeah,
I think we'll be all right.
I'll make sure I give plenty of notice if we have to move it up so that we can make sure we have, enough people to approve it.
Awesome.
All right. And that's all that I had. So it's up to you.
If all hearts and minds are satisfied, let's adjourn. It is 8:02 PM.
Sir, thank you, everybody.
Ace?
Race.